A Russian drone and missile attack on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv killed at least 6 people, including a 6-year-old boy, and injured 52 overnight, Ukrainian authorities said Thursday. The head of the city's military administration said the number of injured in the overnight attack was likely to rise. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the main target of the strike was the capital and that it inflicted significant damage on residential buildings and areas. At least 27 locations across Kyiv were targeted, with Russian strikes also hitting 4 other Ukrainian regions, with some 300 drones and 8 missiles. Russia has continued to bombard Ukraine with attacks, despite US efforts to broker a ceasefire deal. On Tuesday, US President Donald Trump expressed frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin and shortened a self-imposed deadline for a truce from 50 to 10 to 12 days.
Recently sanctioned by the United States, Francesca Albanese, the UN Special Rapporteur for the occupied Palestinian territories, presented her latest report in the Italian Parliament. Invited by a parliamentary group made up mostly of opposition parties, she outlined an investigation that maps companies believed to be aiding Israel's occupation and its war on Gaza. Titled From Economy of Occupation to Economy of Genocide, Albanese says her work aims to explain how profit is helping drive the conflict.
Ho fatto luce col mio ultimo rapporto che mostra come 48 imprese, che poi non sono una lista, sono illustrative di un sistema, dopo aver fatto parte dell'economia e sostenuto l'economia dell'occupazione israeliana, che ha completamente deflagrato la possibilità dei palestinesi di esistere liberi come popolo in uno Stato oppure come individui che godono di diritti e libertà fondamentali. Adesso questa economia si è trasformata in genocidio, di economia di un genocidio, ed è assolutamente insopportabile l'idea che ci sia della gente che ne trae profitto.
Speaking at the Senate on Wednesday, the UN rapporteur also called out Italy, saying that defending international law should go beyond political divides.
Nel gennaio del 2024 la Corte di Giustizia internazionale, con misure d'urgenza, ha riconosciuto il rischio di genocidio, e di là scattano in maniera inoppugnabile le responsabilità del governo italiano. Questo non è uno Stato come altri in Europa, non è uno Stato che è silente dinanzi a un genocidio, no? È uno Stato che è corresponsabile dal punto di vista politico.
Opposition party representatives have criticized the government for failing to support Italian-born Albanese, who was recently sanctioned by the Trump administration over a criticism of Israel.
Di certo io sono stata la prima e l'unica, spero l'ultima funzionaria internazionale a scontare questo filo, però si tratta di un attacco al cuore del multilateralismo. E io dico, viste le mie origini di meridionale, conosco bene a cosa porta e cosa fa vincere appunto questa logica mafiosa: il silenzio.
Giorgia Orlandi for Euronews in Rome.
Can the Danish model of migration become European? For years, Denmark was considered the black sheep of migration policy because of its highly restrictive approach to asylum rights. But as the bloc moved gradually to the right, the controversial ideas espoused by Copenhagen gained popularity and are now embraced by the political mainstream.
I remember when I started in this post 3 years ago, I was in the GHA Council, and the Austrian minister was the only one who supported these notions back then. And now it seems there's a lot of more countries that have rallied around the notion that we should get democratic control of the migrant flows, and I'm just very, very happy that this is the case.
At the top of the to-do list is outsourcing. Denmark is leading the push to establish centers outside European soil to transfer rejected asylum seekers. The idea has been accepted by the European Commission but remains plagued by financial, technical and ethical questions. Humanitarian organizations warn outsourcing will waste taxpayers' money and lead to human suffering. Amid the criticism, Copenhagen has reframed the conversation to argue that a hardline approach on migration is the only way for progressive politicians to remain in power.
I believe if you're in a social democratic or workers' party championing especially skilled and unskilled workers, then I believe migration is often a burden for the constituents, and working class communities have taken the largest part of the task of integrating people in local communities and the labor market, and therefore if you're a party that are representing low skilled, low paid people, then you should be quite restrictive around migration.
Denmark has a privileged position to promote his vision as it assumes the 6-month presidency of the EU Council. Needless to say, migration is at the very top of the agenda.
From the beginning of the year until July 15th, more than 3,000 rural fires resulted in over 10,000 hectares of burned area in Portugal. That's 3 times higher than the same period in 2024, when around 3,400 hectares burned, and is the 5th highest number of hectares burned since 2015. Despite a sustained downward trend in the number of fires since 2017, they have been more aggressive, with more than half being considered large fires, meaning with a burn area of more than 100 hectares. This year there have been 22 large fires, resulting in over 6,000 hectares of burnt area. These figures do not yet include this week's major fires, such as the one in Aroca, where the fire is still active and has already destroyed more than 5,000 hectares. Another fire has also consumed around 6,000 hectares of the Peneda Gerês National Park, and the flames have yet to be brought under control. In just 5 days, the area burned may already be around 30,000 hectares, according to the latest data from the Forest Fire Information Management System.
Ever wondered how electric vehicles know how much charge is left in their battery? The state of charge, which tells you how charged the car is, relies on complicated calculations of current or voltage, sometimes adjusted for temperature. If it's too low, the vehicle might shut down unexpectedly. If it's too high, the battery could overcharge, leading to overheating and, in rare cases, fire. This risk is why the EV battery industry hasn't actively adopted artificial intelligence yet, despite the potential of increased efficiency.
You have problems with proving causality and liability with an AI component because it's black box. You can't look inside and say what went wrong. So if an AI component fails, it's usually something to do with either the hardware or the training data.
Experts say integrating AI into the battery estimation system could make EVs go farther and last longer.
If you can use the sensors, one temperature sensor, one voltage sensor, and one current sensor directly into an AI, that AI is more competent to estimate the charge and will adapt more quickly to new releases of battery packs and stuff like that, because the old way is very cumbersome and slow. So there are benefits for AI.
But it's also a task where mistakes can literally ignite into serious trouble. Skoglund's team intentionally fed the AI faulty data to see how it acted, and so that the output was way off.
It's important to do this kind of test because we proved that it was really not that robust.
As a solution, the team suggests a system that keeps AI in check and shuts it down when it acts out, which they call a safety cage. This isn't the only way to bring AI into EV batteries, but researchers say this is one of the most realistic solutions.
Als ich das Café eröffnet habe und die Lampe hing Queer in France und klar war, dass es ein queerer Laden wird, fing es halt an mit Übergriffen, mit Kot an den Fenstern, mit Sachen, die in die Gegensfenster geworfen wurden oder ins Lokal, verbale Attacken, körperliche Angriffe, Feuerlöscher in die erste Etage in mein Büro, Scheibenwischer abgebrochen, Scheiben eingeschlagen. Also ein Terrorakt.
Besonders gravierend ist auch der Anstieg queerfeindlicher Gewalttaten um 40%. LGBTIQ-Feindlichkeit hat in rechten autoritären Ideologien eine Scharnierfunktion, ähnlich wie Antisemitismus und Sexismus und Antifeminismus. Hier zeigt sich exemplarisch die zunehmende Aktions- und Gewaltorientierung der sich rasant radikalisierenden, sehr jungen Neonazi-Szene, die im vergangenen Jahr unter anderem Teilnehmerinnen von Christopher Street Days und Breitparaden attackierten, mit dem Ziel, Angst zu verbreiten.
Wir sind viele Hunderttausende und wir sind auch mehr als in den Vorjahren. Und das ist wirklich ein kraftvolles, tolles Zeichen für mehr Gleichberechtigung.
Ich habe noch nie so viele Menschen auf dem CSD wie heute gesehen und es berührt mich wahnsinnig, dass auch so viele andere Sexualitäten außerhalb der queeren Szene da waren.